Winnipeg almost 3 years ago, and currently I'm studying at UFW. I became a client of Manitoba Start, and they helped me really to transgress from being an immigrant to I would say, a notable professional. So I'm currently working in Simple Credit Union, and at the same time studying at the University of Winnipeg. But I'm here just to share my experience on how I managed to survive in Winnipeg. I would say to survive, I'll tell you later why. And also I'm gonna just tell about the lessons I've learned, and maybe that's something that I can impart to you as future leaders of Winnipeg. We often hear this saying, first impressions never last. But as a fellow immigrant, and I would say Winnipegger, I could say that it should be directed the other way, that first impressions are the most lasting. Why? Because with my first experience in Winnipeg, I could say that it's something worth truly cherishing forever. I arrived in Winnipeg 3 years, 7 months, and 28 days. And with that, I came from a country way past, maybe it will take around years to take it by boat. I came from the Philippines. And I bring my experience and my skills here, but hoping for a different set of perspective, a different life. After enduring a 26-hour plane flight in the Philippines, going here to Canada, I have now actually no idea what Winnipeg is, except knowing it was the birthplace of Winnie the Pooh. Aside from that, exploring Winnipeg is a first-time experience for me. My first stop, downtown Winnipeg. And with that, I was amazed seeing old buildings and new buildings being adjacent together. Seeing looming dining areas, coffee shops, as well as a public library, a university, and our famous shopping mall at the heart of the city. But what amazed me here in downtown Winnipeg is that despite that it is such a small area as compared from Toronto, we can still manage to pack a lot of different and diverse things in such a small space. Talking about Ziploc and vacuum packaging. Another thing that I managed to see in Winnipeg and explore, because I've become accustomed now to the places, people, and practices. And as future and current leaders of Winnipeg, I'd like to share my story in a view of a newcomer's eyes and what is Winnipeg for me. Aside from we go to downtown, I managed to see different places. First is Assiniboine Park, where I managed to experience, to escape the busyness of the urban living, and just go there to trail and bike, and sometimes see the actual Winnie the Pooh. Aside from that, I also went to the forks. If I want to go for historic sightseeing, I'll just go to the forks and stroll around the river, and maybe end up at the Exchange District for a nice snack. And I think that's what makes Winnipeg unique. You can see a lot of food and diverse cuisine in such a small city. You go around to one place and dine to an Indian restaurant, and then just cross the street and experience a nice Italian dessert. I hope you're taking your lunch already. But what makes Winnipeg for me really extravagant and alluring is that the friendliness of the people. One thing that when I came first in Canada, as I arrived in the airport, I was just going to the washroom, which actually the washroom is not the term we use in the Philippines, but I'm getting accustomed to that. That guy who I didn't know just saying, "Welcome to Winnipeg. You can have lots of fun here." I said, "I don't know you," but then I went outside and saw the plate number saying friendly Manitoba. Okay, that explains it. Another thing about the people is having such diverse background and a diverse set of people. Just looking around in this area, you can see different people, different cultures from different walks of life. And I think that's what makes Winnipeg unique and something worth catching for. I experienced also that with Winnipeg and seeing the people, I've learned that despite our, despite our extrinsic differences, we can always find intrinsic similarities. Just for example, I was a client of Manitoba Start, and they managed to put me in a youth work experience program where I came across a set of 4 immigrants and 4 Aboriginal, and we will meet there twice a week for professional training and development. And for the next 4 months, we'll just be interacting with each other, learning about each other's cultures, each other's beliefs. And with that 4 months of experience, I soon came to realize that despite our different cultures, despite our different languages, despite our different backgrounds, we can still share something that's similar. And we can still be able to relate to each other despite the barriers that we have. So being in Winnipeg and with the help of Manitoba Start, I managed to break down barriers of prejudices and discrimination. And being able to explore that even though we're different, we're still the same. Because there's only one race, the human race. The last, but not the least, that made Winnipeg really entertaining, fascinating, and engaging is the practices. Having said that Winnipeg is a rich country, rich city, I mean, having different backgrounds and a diverse set of people and places, it has also a rich variety of culture and traditions. And as for me, I admit, I have experienced some culture shock when I came here in my first few months of Winnipeg. Just for example, in my first few months here in Winnipeg, I used to believe that resumes should have a picture at the right side. Because in the Philippines, when we submit our resumes, our picture is always there. So when I was here, it was quite different because they didn't need to have pictures in it and just make it brief and succinct. Well, I think it works for me because I'm not actually photogenic. Aside from that, one thing that is quite different from Winnipeg that I've experienced is there are some things that I have never seen before that I first thought it was right. Like for example, I know that you have been leaders and you have staff and subordinates, and maybe you have experienced people calling you ma'am or sir. And sometimes do you feel it's a bit awkward that why are we? It's like it feels like it is different that people are mostly immigrants are calling you that. The reason is because typically Asians or maybe some other countries as well have that power distance wherein we have high regard and appreciation for people of higher authority. If ever that I have a boss that is higher than me, I used to take their instructions and just follow the orders. But being here in Winnipeg and being able to work successfully in a credit union, I have learned that you don't really need to address people with ma'am or sir because it's not the way that you are in a position, but the way how you treat people. At first, it was a bit awkward for me addressing my manager by her first name, but I still got accustomed to it. Because what I learned here in Winnipeg is that people don't really work for bosses. People work with their teammates and with their leaders. To sum up, Winnipeg is really something that I will worth remembering, maybe even if I pass away. But I think hopefully that will be a few decades from now. However, Winnipeg is something that I have experienced a lot of first times with. The first time seeing snow, the first time slipping on ice, and the first time learning that winter is actually a matter of survival. I have also experienced and began to appreciate things I have never appreciated before. For example, having -10 temperature during January is actually a heat wave. Also, I experienced that and I began to appreciate that even though there's no mountains here in Manitoba, there's still something that makes it unique because with no mountains, you cannot see any boundaries. It's like having no limits in your dreams and your aspirations. And you begin always to wonder that in the eyes of an immigrant, though Winnipeg is new to us, I know that this is now the home that we can tell. And this is the place that we will live our lives, get our careers, and maybe make a bountiful life. With that in mind, I have learned one most important lesson with my 4 years stay in Winnipeg. That is, no matter how different we are, we always see the same horizon. Although we see it in different perspective, in our own set of lenses. So with my experience here, I have learned that as a newcomer, I need to take off my set of lenses and wear a different one to see things in a very new perspective, in a different light, and begin to see things differently, proactively, with a sense of inclusiveness, and knowing that we see things, although we see things in the same way, we can still appreciate things in a much diverse and a broader way. That's my story, and I appreciate listening to me.